Hello, everyone, and welcome to this month's Qubit Tech Talk. Today, we're doing this via Teams, and I'm happy to have Todd on the line, or as Greg Giegel likes to call him, the Todd Father, on our Qubit Tech Talk this month. Todd is a senior systems engineer at Juniper Mist, and today we're going to talk about contact tracing and how technology can assist organizations with contact tracing. So in this COVID world that we're all living in, and in a non-COVID world, perhaps Todd and I would be doing this live face-to-face, right? But we're in the COVID world, so we're doing this on Teams. Everybody's kind of familiar with this idea of contact tracing. And it's interesting, my son is a football coach at Lafayette Central Catholic down in Lafayette, Indiana, and I went to their game in Tipton on Friday, and they showed up with like 12 fewer players than they were originally scheduled to have because they were in a class with a kid that had COVID, and through contact tracing, I guess, they said these kids can't play. And like my son likes to say, like they're losing all these players, but none of their players have ever tested positive for COVID, right? But it's kind of through this contact tracing. So everybody's, I think, has their own story on that. That's mine. But once the quarantine and the COVID really kind of set in, everybody started to look at how can we use technology to assist us in some of these things and these challenges that COVID and how our society is dealing with it has presented. And so, Juniper Mist has some pretty neat technology built into their system that they realize was going to be a big asset for their customer set or future customers in being able to do contact tracing. So, Todd, maybe you want to elaborate a little bit on that.
Sure. Well, I mean, Ryan, so the Juniper Mist solution is built on data. Our primary premise is how our clients experience on the network. How are they experience the wireless network, and how are they acting on the network for any particular time. So we actually take 150 data points every 2 seconds from every client, and we store all of this information. And where we really show a lot of strength in the marketplace is correlating that information, taking the data science and presenting that information to our end users in order to do whatever it is that they want to be doing, whether that's fixing a problem or just seeing how the professor is on a particular network, or going back in time to help alleviate problems that happened maybe a few days back with dynamic packet captures and the likes. Given that we have all of that information, we are able to take that information, go back in time, and correlate not only where a client's been, but who's been with those clients at any point in time in days present and past.
Right. So all of that location kind of information is already in your system natively, right? So there's nothing specifically you have to turn on. So then when this COVID contact tracing came in, it's just, hey, we have all this data already. How can we better utilize it to give pretty specific information on who is close to who based upon, I'm assuming the devices they're carrying, right? So that client might be a Chromebook if it's a student, or a phone, or a tablet in a warehouse, or something along those lines. Is that correct?
Absolutely. And it could be either BLE or wireless or a combination of both. Right. We actually have built into all of our access points a 16 element 8 directional antenna array. So our granularity of location capabilities, again, every 2 seconds we're gathering this information. So our granularity and location capabilities is bar none better than any in the industry.
Yeah, cool. And what has been your client's reaction when you're able to tell them, hey, we're able to do this, automatically? I would have to assume they're pretty happy about that.
They very happy. In fact, a study that or a customer of ours that just deployed is MIT. MIT ripped out 9,000 access points as soon as they saw this technology and replaced their entire infrastructure so they could take advantage of the location capabilities, along with a proprietary app that they have developed with Apple and Google. But yeah, they saw our BLE and location capabilities inherent to our system, ripped out everything that they had and put in Juniper Mist.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So we've talked about education, right? What are some of the other industries that have been, that this contact tracing, really this degree, right? So using technology to help with the contact tracing, like what are some of the other industries that have been pretty interested in that?
I'll tell you, education was the first customer vertical to come at us, but really and truly, manufacturing and warehousing have been, all three of them have been huge in needing the contact tracing capabilities, and it's because they have to have people or want to have people on their premise in order to conduct business.
Right. Yeah, and some of those, like you think about, just Amazon and FedEx and UPS and all those, how critical they've been, in the pandemic and in the response to COVID as far as delivering and stuff. So it's critical for them to keep the operations going. So that's cool. So okay, that's awesome. So Todd, Father, I really appreciate you coming on to our Qubit Tech Talk, and certainly I look forward to maybe some more of these down the road. So
Absolutely.
thanks.
Thank you so much for having me.